Another function that's sometimes used in conjunction with the input function is the eval function, and that's eval as in evaluate. And this function takes a string argument and it evaluates the string as if it were a Python expression that had been typed into the Python interpreter, and then returns whatever that expression would yield. Here are a couple of examples. We could have eval. It takes a string argument, so let's say 1 plus 1. Now note that's a string, but this function evaluates 1 plus 1 as if we had just typed it in at the interpreter and hit return and get 2. So a few other examples, we could have the string 19.4, and when we hit return, this yields the float 19.4, as if we had typed in 19.4. If we have eval of the string 19, then we get the integer 19. Now let's try a few other things. Let's say x is equal to 10, and then let's ask the eval function to evaluate x plus 1. So we're saying, hey, if we had typed in x plus 1 after assigning the value of 10 to x, what does that yield? Well, it yields 11. Or how about this? Let's say evaluate the string print x plus 14. Okay, so the string is print x plus 14, and when we hit return, it evaluated that as if we had typed on the line print x plus 14. And since x was 10, once we add 14 to that, we get 24, and that's what's printed. Okay, now let's consider how the eval function can be used in conjunction with obtaining input with the input function. Let's say we want to get an age again. What we'll do is we'll evaluate the string that we obtain from the input function, and we'll prompt the user. We'll say enter an age. That will return a string, whatever the user entered, and then we'll evaluate that and assign it to the identifier or variable age. So let's give that a try. We have the prompt, let's say 19, and now let's ask what the type is of age, and we see it's an int or integer, and if we try and print age, we just get 19. So no surprise. Let me use the keyboard shortcut to recall that input statement, and I won't change a thing about that. We'll hit return, get that prompt again, and now let's say the user entered 19.4. Now what is the type of age? Well, now it's a float, and if we print age, we get 19.4. Now let's try something else. Again, I'll recall that input statement. And now let's say the user wrote a quotation mark for some reason, and then 19, and then close quotation mark. Well, that's okay. What is age now? Let's check using the type function, and it's actually a string. If we print it, though, it still looks like 19. But this could cause problems for us later on if this variable could be a float, it could be an integer, it could be a string, we just don't know. Or let's recall that input statement one more time, and let's say the user entered 6 plus 6 plus 6. That expression will be evaluated, and just to be consistent, let's add in a plus 1 there. And now what is age? Let's just look at that by entering the variable name on the line and hitting return. Well, it's the integer 19 because 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 1 was evaluated. That's 19 and assigned to age. Let's recall that one more time, and let's do this. Let's say the user entered something really strange. They said print x. They could do that, and what happens is up above we assigned x the value of 10, and the user input was evaluated. The print function was called and told to print the value of x. We see 10 on the output. What is age now? Well, doesn't appear to be anything. And we'll see why later on, but clearly things are getting a bit weird if we use this eval function. It provides a bit too much power. It's best that we stick with int if we're looking for integers, or maybe float and int working in combination to get a numeric value. Eval, people use it at times, but it can be overkill. That being said, that perhaps it's best to avoid using eval, let's consider one way in which, at least for now, it may come in handy, and let's assume that we have to read in more than one value from a line. First of all, recall simultaneous assignment. If we had the same number of L values, identifiers, to the left of the assignment operator as we had values or expressions to the right of the assignment operator, we can perform that assignment. So as an example, we might have x comma y, two L values or identifiers, and maybe 5 and 97, two values to the right, and then that did the assignment such that x is 5 and y is 97. If we just had x comma y is equal to the string 5 comma 97, well, that doesn't work. It thinks there's a single string to the right and it can't unpack that to two values. But if we had x comma y is equal to, how about if we evaluate the string 5 comma 97? If we do that, this works. Then x and y are 5 and 97 because it evaluated that string. It's as if we typed 5 comma 97. We could use that with an input statement. We could say x comma y is equal to eval, and we'll take the input with a prompt, let's say enter x and y, and maybe tell the user that they should be separated by a comma. And now hitting return, let's say in this case 17 and 231. So what is x? Well, it was 17, and what is y? 231. Later on, when we get into strings, we'll see that there are better ways of handling these multi-value inputs. But for now, if you absolutely have to read multiple values, provided they're separated by commas, the eval function with simultaneous assignment may do the trick for you.